Hi, Miss Head here with Mrs. Jones, my mentor. We're about to get started on Standard 1, Student Learning, Evaluation, and Rubric Grading.
Okay, so I was looking at the video, and there were a couple of things I was looking for with the within the instruction. So with one of the elements, understanding learning, I was looking for the objective to be posted, but also stated. I know that you said initially that they were going to learn how to do expanded notation. So because that had not been taught to them, I was looking for a definition for expanded notation as opposed to just, oh, we're going to expand it. Like a definition for them to refer to and then a model for them to see before they actually got into the work, for them to understand it. Because we can say expand all day long, but if they don't understand what that means, then when we continue to say it, it's not going to help them to move forward. So I was looking for a definition in expanded form, and I was looking for students to talk more. I saw a lot of you leading what they were doing, but I didn't see a lot of them being able to vocalize what it was so that you can see whether or not they're internalizing the vocabulary that goes along with writing and expanded notation, that vocabulary that goes along with writing in place value, with the place value places, but also understanding that 4 in the tens place is 4 tens or 40. I wanted to hear more of that language because that also gives you a glimpse into whether or not the students actually understand the work. Like having the students read the number. So like there was a lot, you would say put this number in the place value chart and then write the number in expanded form and then write it in word form. But I wanted to hear them say what the number was. So yeah, like the first one was 176. So for them to say this is 176, okay, we're gonna write it in expanded form, and then they're gonna write it in. So if they're saying it, then I know that they know how to read the numbers 1 and 2. That they won't make the mistake of putting it in the place value chart wrong and going from there. That was I was looking to hear more of them speaking as opposed to the teacher leading it, because when they lead, they rely more on the teachers, what the teacher's saying, as opposed to them actually using the language. And at that point, they can participate more into the discourse. And then, I was noticing one other thing. So there was a point where the kids were like handshaking each other for like 2 minutes, and the thing is, it was that you were giving feedback to one student, which is great, but having cognizance of the other students around them. So like while you're still giving them feedback, you're still checking in. Like if it's like a hand right here, or like a quick look over and glance over, you could cut down on some of that, because I know that one of your goals was for you to be able to do behavior management, and so that's a part of it. Even though they're right in front of you and they're not being like totally disruptive, it's still managing their behaviors, and what off-task behavior looks like was kind of like that 2 minutes of them handshaking and high-fiving. So continue to check in with students individually, but also have, if they're required to talk more within the teacher led, you can cut down on some of that down there too. And writing directly on the table, as opposed to writing on the chalkboard. So the chalkboard you could use.
Yeah, I know that, but it's like when I write it, it's like backwards, and it's like not really.
Even if you don't do that, we use so I can write upside down for them because we've been doing it for a while. But if you can't, you can still, if you have like a place value chart right here, or you have a whiteboard that you can write it in front of them.
So don't use that chalkboard.
Yeah, use that chalkboard to post maybe the objective. Yeah, because you have to take the little seconds that it takes for you to get up, do that, for them to show that it's so many places where the students' eyes have to follow, as opposed to now they have to look down here, they have to look up here, they have to look down here, look down here. They have to take the information too many places. If you have it in one location, then it'll cut down on where the students' attention have to be. And you'll get more out of them when you do that. So if you're writing, you can write it in front of them and see it. So it's still down here. The flow of work is still down here, as opposed to it up here and then down here. Do it in front of them.
That makes sense.
Allow them to explain the work, not you. Because you can't, if you're explaining the work, you can't get whether or not they're understanding, because you're constantly explaining the work to them. You need to, in order for you to address possible misunderstandings, you have to hear from them. And their misconceptions might come out with their explanations. So I didn't see. We could like because of the way the tablet was, I couldn't see what they were writing. I could only hear what you were saying, but not hear their voices. You'll see that in impact, we're looking for what the students' outcomes are. So they're looking for the students to talk more and not the teacher. The teachers are more of a facilitator of the discussion. The students engage in a discussion between peer to peer or or student to teacher. So like there was a lot more teacher talk than there was student talk. So I'm going to say I don't know whether it's like between a 1 and a 2 for the student understanding and learning because I didn't hear much of what they were saying. Like, I wanted to hear them more because I don't know what they understood besides you saying it what there was. Like I couldn't see what they wrote.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I say. I could see them like from the work that like, with me just observing what they were doing. So maybe I can try to move the camera.
Yeah, so if you do,
if I could use this, I think it'll probably be better.
Yep, and then face it,
see, like the table.
Yep, and face it more toward the students and not you, because the direction. So when I'm looking at whether or not it's a great lesson, it's not what the teacher's saying; it's what the students' outcomes are.
Okay.
So like have it face the students so that we can see what the students writing, we can see what the students saying, and have the student talk more so you can hear what they're saying. Because if it's teacher led, then like I can't do much more with it.
I wonder how hard that's going to be to because they're normally showing their work on that table. And sometimes I have them, I got these at the teacher led station too, so they can put their place value charts and everything like that. But would I have to, move the camera, back and forth? Is that going to be, distracting?
No, but if a camera, let's say a camera's right there.
Okay.
I can see.
It will be able to see.
Yeah, I can see what students are writing. I can also see whether or not you're checking in to see whether there's a misunderstanding or there's something written wrong. I can hear from what you're saying to see whether you're checking in and see whether or not they're doing what they're supposed to do. Okay. So that was what. So I'm kind of stuck in between the insufficient or the basic. That's so. I guess like a 1.5. I guess I don't know. In that area, because it says a candidate has limited knowledge of how learning occurs and it limits his or her development of instructional strategies to promote student learning. So I want to know what. So it's more like a 2. It's more of a 2 for this one. I want to know what the students are learning as opposed to what the teacher's saying. So I got to hear more of the students, and that's the reason. Because again, it's all about the student outcomes. It's about what they're learning.
Well, the lesson was expanded form. Yeah, just basically expanded form and written form is what I do in the lesson, and I can see that they were learning that. But I guess translating it for you.
Yeah, because, not just for me, just for anybody who would come and ask the students.
Because if they're executing it, that's not just
enough.
They have to talk about it.
They have to speak about it because...
They have to be able to explain it to somebody else.
Yes, because Common Core, when you're teaching students with Common Core, you got to understand that it's more about the process as opposed to getting the right answer. So how do you know that this is what it is? If they can't tell you how they know that this is what it is, and the right answer is not enough for us. Because there are going to be asked process questions as well. What is this, and how do you know I can add this with this? They have to understand. Yeah, they have to have that vocabulary. Because if you don't, then right now all you're doing is teaching them tricks or formulas. When in actuality, they have to know why it works every time. Yeah,
cool.
Because they'll go to word problems and not understand at all what they're doing. They just I don't see because it's not presented the same way it was presented.
Right.
Okay. So that's one of the things. You also writing the correct answer. So you would so there were students who were I noticed that the students were writing it and you would say, okay, that's right. But then also having it written for them as well. Okay, so we said this is it. But you write it while they tell you what to write. Again, that's that whole students being able to explain it, students being able to see what it is, and students leading it.
In the right language too.
Yeah.
Okay.
And with that right language, I would like to have seen maybe on the back when you on the chalkboard where you wrote, if you write the objective, you also write the vocabulary words or vocabulary or language, whatever we need them to be saying. Have that up there as well, so it gives them a reference to what we're supposed to be saying. Maybe there's a word that they really don't remember, or a word that they need a reminder to use. They use it and they can see it up there, so it's right behind them if they get stuck, kind of like an anchor chart. Also, again with the vocabulary, you kept saying expand, but it wasn't helping them. So you going back to the definition of expanded notation, having it visually up there, because it's when you're only playing to people who are students who are auditory learners, but you're not playing to students who are visual learners. Like you have to meet them at different modes. So that's students who benefit more from visuals and seeing it up there.
Yeah. What was that wasn't included in the video was the actual introduction of expanded form. So we did that kind of like I do now. So
Right.
we like I model it, and then they did it as a group, and then we went over to the teacher led table and tried to like do it together.
Right. So within that, within that is there we have within impact. There's 30 minutes, so it doesn't matter what happened. It doesn't matter what happened outside of that. If the students did not take that with them, then you have to plan ahead for students who may remember it, who may not. Some students can't carry information from one place to the other, so you have to make sure that you still have those visuals. You still have a reference for them. Expanded notation, maybe reviewing the definition of expanded notation before
when we get over there.
When you get over there, so the students are saying what expanded notation is. Okay, boom. So now we're ready to move and actually do some calculation or some work with expanded notation. Because just saying we're going to expand it didn't really mean much for them. That's why you kept continue to say it.
And I kept like doing this, and I'm like,
they're
still not really getting it.
They're not understanding it yet.
Okay, cool.
The talking chips, or talking chips or talking sticks, allowing there to be equity within the conversation. Okay, so you already gave me an answer. Cool. Now I need to get somebody else's chip. Let me hear different voices within the conversation. Yeah, so that's that. So and so that's what I was talking about, the different modes. So like I would say right now it's insufficient. So it'd be a 1 for being able to meet the students' different needs, because it was only presented in a verbal as opposed to the visual. So we need, ultimately you want to have all three: the tactile, kinesthetic, visual,
like just
auditory.
Carry it with me. I just gotta like have it.
Yeah, have it with you, or have it up there. So you want to have them touch them. Sometimes, yeah, and if for students who may not have gotten what it means to have 4 tens, maybe you have the base 10 blocks. All right, this is 4 tens, so we know this is 4 tens, which is 40. So you have the place value charts. That's a visual and a tactile kinesthetic, because they have to write it in and they have to touch it. Then the manipulatives, which is tactile. Then you have the visual, which would be the example model up there, the model, the objective, the vocabulary words, and then you're speaking the same language as you see on there. So that would be audio. So those are 4 different modalities in which you're now engaging in multi-sensory approach. So you want to make sure you get all of those in there, or as many as you can that are appropriate during a lesson. So that's how that's there. I think this one is a 2 for readiness for learning. So you recognize students' readiness for learning, but you're unsure how to help individual students move higher. Again, that's that checking in with the students, and then also engaging with them in all of the modalities that are appropriate for these students. Again, there were some who needed the visual examples. We didn't see that there yet. So I'm looking for the growth in that area, and then developmentally appropriate instruction. It was definitely developmentally appropriate, so I'll give it a 3 because it's 4th grade level instruction, which made sense in that group. So that was a 3. And then collaboration. You use Clash Dojo. If we saw it a little more consistently, so we'll say limited, so that would be a 2. If it's on your tablet, you can also put Clash Dojo on your tablet as well, even if it's not on your phone. You can have it on your tablet.
Yeah.
As well as is your computer up beside you?
It's see what I had I kept it like beside me, then like for more space I put it up so I can like display the dojo, but like the computer goes black, so it's like not really effective. So I got to figure out a kind of way where
there's a way to change
like the timing or whatever. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So you can go over that, and so they can always see what I'm doing or hear it and be able to see it too. Like, oh, I was talking and I just got a point taken away.
Yeah.
I do want that to be around.
And then again,
so that's why it would work better if I had it on my phone too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get space.
And the tablet.
Or my tablet, yeah. Either one.
Right,
I just need to download it.
Yeah. Putting it on there, it's gonna definitely help. That way you are able to in the moment do that. That way, again, if you invite parents to the class dojo, they can see what's happening in the moment. What you can send messages. Hey, this is what they're struggling with. Maybe we can focus on this at home. Maybe provide strategies within the moment right after they are finished with the lesson and are ready to move to the next station. So.
Cool. Okay, I understand all my scores except for like develop me appropriate because I want to know like what you have to do to go the extra mile or.
So they're at the grade level, but again, pushing it to being developmentally appropriate also means that you're providing whatever they need within the moment. So again, that's the other multi-sensory approach.
So when all those come up.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Ms. Jones.
No problem.